Hi, I'm Carol Ann Ford. I played Susan in Doctor Who. And I've been listening to the Five-ish Fangirls podcast, and it's absolutely amazing. So, goodbye everybody, and it's been fun talking to you.
Tangents we continue all the way to episode 294 of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. And if you're to watch, to read, to-do list has gotten a little short, don't worry, we can help with that. Welcome everyone to this week's episode of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. So glad you could join us. Let's start off like we work on the virtual table and see who's joined us this week.
This is Brittany in Bethlehem.
This is Chrissy in Salt Lake City.
This is Holly from Wisconsin.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Yay. Oh, my. Happy first full week of autumn.
Yay.
Discussing the changing weather patterns before we started.
Yes. Well,
our sinuses are letting us know in full force.
Yeah.
but there is good news because we got a box of Halloween decorations out that I haven't put up yet, but I am getting ready to do this.
I keep meaning to go get mine out of storage, and I just haven't done it yet. So
I've been so like mine are just right in like this closet near me, and this ventilation's like get it out. Like
yeah, mine are like storage down the hall and then the garage, which is clear on the other end of the building. So it's like, but yes, definitely now it feels more like fall. The trees, well, some of the trees are the colors, the leaves are changing. Not all the trees we have change. Some just you wake up one day and all the leaves are just on the ground.
Yep.
It's like
one of the trees I used to have at a house when I was growing up, it would be the last one to lose all its leaves, and it'd be 2 weeks after everybody, all the trees in the neighborhood. It's like,
yeah.
Really? Thanks.
It's like, I just put the rake away.
Exactly.
That's when you just like ignore it and you're like, they'll be covered with snow eventually, and then you won't see
Which is basically pretty much what I did.
Yeah.
I have this really neat picture. It was like the end of October, and we said like a bunch of like there was still leaves on the trees, and like there was a lot on the ground though. But we also had like a freak blizzard. So like I have like this picture of like snow with like the colored leaves. I'm like, this is weird.
Yeah, that sounds
like
cool.
we've gotten snow before, but this was like insane.
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, just looking at the way the weather patterns are going, I'm like, it's gonna probably be a very cold Halloween again this year.
Probably.
That's when you gotten in the habit of sitting out right outside the door on because we go to my mom's because she's got a proper neighborhood, so they can actually get trick-or-treaters and we can decorate and all that and scare the crap out of them as they've gotten used to. Check out previous videos. But I'll go out there in a little folding camping chair and she's got a little space heater that she'll let me take out there. So it's like me with a bowl of candy and space heater. And like, come on, kids, come get your candy. So I go inside.
Oh yeah, I can remember putting my Halloween costume over my midwinter coat, going trick-or-treating.
I'm pretty sure I trick-or-treated one year with all my winter gear over my costume. The neighbor just had to take their word for it that I was wearing one. So, yeah, Halloween in the Midwest, it's a lot of fun. And for anyone who's like, well, that doesn't seem very smart. Why don't you just wait inside and open the door when the kids show up? Dogs.
Yep.
because the dogs will go nuts, and then you're like trying to open the door to hand out candy while trying to keep the dogs from running out.
Exactly.
It's easier just to sit outside and suffer.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well,
Yes.
the best one I saw is someone rigging up a thing how to do quote unquote socially distanced Halloween, and it's a pulley system. Like you use clothespins to clip the candy to this little skeleton thing, and it zips down the line, and to the sidewalk. So you're at the door. The zip line goes down to the sidewalk, and the kids there, they get their candy, and there's even a little basket on the back of it where you can put drinks in for the adults.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And now I'm like, I saw it on Facebook days ago, and I should have kept it because it was awesome.
Yeah.
But I'm like,
if it gets cold enough around here, like I think it is, I'll have a scarf wrapped around my head anyway, so I don't care.
There you go.
One year, I go to my grandma's for trick or treating, and one year we both had like a cold. So what we did is we left the candy bowl out on the porch, and we sat right inside the door. They have a glass door, so like people came up and were like saying "Happy Halloween" with a glass door. It was fun. Not as fun as it usually is, because normally how it is, it's my neighbor and my grandparents combined, and we sit like up front and like in front of the street. But we did what we could do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh. Yay. So
Hopefully
for all
this
of y'all,
year-
for all y'all that live in warmer climates like Florida and California, and you're like, it never feels like fall. Consider the alternative.
It's like you guys have our summer in your winter. No, spring in your winter. So,
Yeah.
enjoy that.
Yes.
Because then you also have high humidity and bugs the size of my head.
Yeah, it's a toss up. Yeah, you gotta take the good with the bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Tangents.
Yes. Us Midwesterners and people that they're supposed to get 4 seasons out of the year, like so anyway,
Do you get 4 seasons? It's very not equal.
Yeah. Well, if this was a normal year, we would have 4 seasons: summer, winter, construction, and sports. So we got 3 out of the 4. Anyway, moving on to the news. Not really a whole lot of news, but get out those calendars and your pencils and your erasers. Again, hopefully you've been writing in pencil, or you've got liquid paper ready to go.
All those erasable pens that weren't really that
exactly.
erasable. I feel like I destroyed
That's
the paper
what whiteout
holder
is for.
after.
Or you just do your calendar you keep on your phone.
Yeah, that too.
Yes.
Open up a calendar app and get ready to start hitting edit.
Yes.
So changes to the Marvel release dates. So now we're not getting any new MCU movies this year. WandaVision is still up in the air, and whether it'll get released. I think it's looking good that we will at least get WandaVision this year. So we will get something. But Black Widow is now moved to May 7th of next year. That means that Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings has moved to July 9th of next year. And the Eternals has moved to November 5th of next year. So everybody's just playing musical chairs.
Yeah, they have the dates.
They have the dates. It's just the movie that was supposed to go in that date has changed.
Yeah, they're just shifting where everything goes.
Yeah.
Yep.
But what that means beyond 2021, in theory, the other things have moved, like Doctor Strange 2 and all of that. But I think it just depends on production, on how off on their production schedule they've gotten. So.
And I also thought I saw somewhere that supposedly Nick Fury is supposed to be getting his own series on Disney Plus.
I think that I don't know if he's going to get his own series or if he's going to be part of the What If.
Okay, it was hard to say from the article that I had.
Yeah, because
I had seen.
Yeah, because they've been slowly, because that's one of those. That's the series where, for those that don't know what we're talking about, What If is going to be a series, but it's going to be like an anthology. So it's not going to be each episode is part of a larger series. They're each going to be standalone, but it's going to be what if something had changed in the MCU. So like, what if Peggy Carter had been the one to go through the super soldier treatment instead of Steve Rogers, or things like that. So I think that's what I saw, is I think Nick Fury's going to get his own episode in the What If series. So, which I'm excited for that. So.
Yes.
Same here. Like I've always loved like What Ifs and AUs and it's like,
well, and especially considering they've done the Peggy Carter as essentially Captain America in the comics, so they have that to play with. But it'll be interesting to see what other sort of alternatives they come up with. And I mean, Nick Fury, he'll probably just pop up every now and then, just like he does. So
I can just,
when they find a reason to, and they're like, "Hey Sam, you want to make some easy cash?" Be like, "Sure, I'll get my eye patch." So.
Gonna have like a random cameo in at least one episode of
all
the series, and I'm gonna freak out like we did when he popped up in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yes. Let's just petition for that. Let's just have Nick Fury be like the new Stan Lee.
Yes.
Just have him pop up every now and then.
I like that.
That would work.
Yep.
And I don't think Samuel L. Jackson would mind that at all.
Not at all. So that's what we're at as far as at least next year is concerned. So yeah, I have to make some changes to my calendar, but again, I've been writing in pencil, so.
To be honest, I haven't been writing anything down because I know it's been changing. So I just keep an eye on stuff.
I'm like, you know what? Just the week after it comes out, I'll go see it.
Yeah,
because then I know it's there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's just because the MCU is just so heavily connected that I think it's easier for them to just. They probably, if it was anything else, they would just release a Black Widow movie like in November, like she was scheduled to do so up until this latest change. But the movies following her are not as ready to go, and I think they don't want that gap. So that it makes sense for the storytelling, especially with the stuff coming to Disney Plus. It all has to be released in a certain way, in a certain manner, for the continuity to make sense. In theory, at least that's the excuse I'm giving. I'm using to make myself feel better, because I'm over here like, there's been no MCU movies. We've got nothing.
We need our Marvel fix.
Yes. So pretty, please give me something.
I mean, I don't get me wrong. I don't mind rewatching the older stuff and the MC TV shows, but I want some new stuff.
Yep. So. All right. Well, that's it actually for the news. So, back. Moving on to feedback. So we got feedback from Shalane in regards to the Goofy movie. She wanted to let us know that there is a Funko Pop out there of Powerline.
Oh, cool.
I think I remember seeing that.
If you need to add that to your collection. um and then also talking about how that not even though a Goofy movie essentially was the feature spin-off from Goof Troop, not all the characters carried over, because like Pete's supposed to have a wife and daughter too that never get seen or mentioned anywhere in the movie. So they just didn't want to go camping. That's just my excuse.
My headcanon is they had a girls' weekend or
Yes.
whatever. They went and did, whatever they wanted to do, and then Pete and PJ went camping, father-son outing. So there
Exactly.
you go.
Yeah.
There was a mother-daughter outing and a father-son outing, and that's totally cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed.
Yeah. And then she also said, I believe she's referring to some of those Goofy cartoons that we were lamenting aren't anywhere. But she said that the How to Goofy cartoons were on the TV show House of Mouse. But apparently that's not on Disney Plus. So
yeah, I don't know. I don't know why it's not on Disney Plus. I'm sure there's some like rights or I don't know how Disney has licensing issues with itself, but I don't understand how these big mega corporations.
Unless there's some vault restrictions that we aren't privy to.
Yeah, because I'm sitting there going like, no, Disney owns all of that, duh. But yeah, so or maybe they're just waiting. Maybe that's one of the things they're sitting on to release. Later, because they're
that's probably more it, because when Disney Plus launched and people are like, well, where's this, I'm like, well, they're not going to give us everything all at once.
Well, and some stuff was tied up over at Netflix and other places, and then when those license agreements ran out, it came over to Disney Plus. But all the time when I get on Disney Plus to watch, well, I'll get into what we're watching because that's what we're going to talk about. But there's a little banner there that says new to Disney Plus, and it's all these different things. I'm like, oh yeah, that one. So
that thing.
like
wait a minute, I thought you were already on. Oh no, okay.
Oh, you weren't. Oh, now you're here. So good deal.
And the opposite, I'm browsing, ooh, this is a movie I haven't seen. Click on it, won't be available to blah blah blah. I'm like, dang it.
Yeah.
They should just put that on the thumbnail so that you don't click on it. And
Yeah. I mean,
coming soon.
Yeah, the Mulan thumbnail it says premium or premiere access plastered on that, so I have to shell out $30 if I want to see this movie right now. No, thank you. I will go find something that I can already watch for free-ish because I'm already paid for it.
Yep. So maybe it'll end up there eventually, and then we'll be able to see those Goofy cartoons. Who knows? Wait and see.
Plus, I don't think she said House of Mouse. I was thinking of something different, something more recent. So I'm like, oh wait, that does make sense. Never mind.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm thinking, but I remember wait, isn't that a different Mickey show? Because Mickey obviously has a lot of different shows.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes. There's ones that Alex has been watching that I'm like, I've never heard of this. But hey, it's Mickey, so.
Yep. So, thank you for your feedback, Shalane. So. We love reading, but sometimes it's hard to find time to physically sit down with a book, which is why the Five-ish Fangirls has proudly partnered with Audible. Audible is a leading provider of spoken word entertainment and audiobooks, ranging from bestsellers to celebrity memoirs. Whatever makes you squee, there's a perfect listen for you. Every month, members get 1 credit to pick any title, plus 2 Audible originals. Whether you're adventuring through time and space, running from dinosaurs, or capturing ghosts, with the free app, audiobooks go where you go. You can download titles and listen offline, anytime, anywhere. Even if you switch devices, you'll never lose your place. And right now, Five-ish Fangirls listeners can sign up for a free 30-day trial by going to audibletrial.com/5ishfangirls. That's 30 days to check out not only their huge collection of audiobooks, but also podcasts, guided wellness programs, theatrical performances, A-list comedy, and exclusive Audible originals you won't find anywhere else. So continue the joy of reading with Audible. Don't see a title that trips your trigger one month? No problem. Your credit will roll over to the next month, and you can quit anytime and keep the books you've acquired forever. For more details and to sign up for your free 30-day trial, visit audibletrial.com/5ishfangirls. That's audibletrial.com/5ishfangirls. And now, back to the podcast. Moving on to this week's main topic. This is something we have not done since April.
Well, when
the quarantine first started and we were all stuck
Yeah.
at home. So
Yes,
it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how things have changed now that we're not quite as stuck at home. Because before we were like, we can't go anywhere. Everything's closed. At least now it's like, I can go to the gym. So
See, things are opening up and
yeah.
slowly, very
Yep.
slowly, but
Yep. So, but this is what we call currently. So this is when we go through and talk about the things that are currently keeping us occupied besides, jobs and other adult responsibilities, the fun stuff.
the reason that we go to those jobs so we can earn money, so we can afford to do these things.
Exactly.
Unless we already own them and we're just doing a reread, rewatch, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So, I guess we'll just start with the very first topic. And what is everyone currently reading?
Well, I can
Get out your pens, folks.
Yep.
Yes. and we'll try to link to some of this as much as we can.
Yes. What I am currently reading right now and doing a reread is I am rereading the Everchase series by author Susan Harris, and the premise is Everchase is a vampire and she's part of this police department in Ireland that solves supernatural crimes, and we get to know the team and the backstory. There's some gods thrown in and some really cool, pop culture references. And she is releasing book 7 called The Arsonist's Lullaby in October, which isn't the very beginning part of October. I want to say October 5th. I might be wrong on that, but she is fantastic. She also has another series out called The Sanguine Crown. That's another different vampire series in it of itself. And then she has also done a retelling of Romeo and Juliet. It's a trilogy called Defy the Stars, and each of the books in the Everchase Chronicles, Defy the Stars, and the Sanguine Crown, the first books are free to read on Amazon.
The first hit's free, folks.
Yep. And I don't think you'll be disappointed. There's a certain god of mischief that even happens to show up later on in the Everchase series. Hint, 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 hint. One of Rachel's favorite Marvel villains?
No idea what you're talking about.
Well, lately I have been doing some reread of some of my manga and some series that I've One of them I saw the anime when I was in college and loved it, and I actually haven't read the manga up until now. And the other one is I'm rereading the sequel that I have read because it's only a manga. But if you're familiar with anime or any of that kind of stuff, you may have heard of the series Fushigi Yugi by Yuwatase. It is, well, the original series of it. It came out in I want to say like 93, 94. And it revolves around the myth of the Chinese myth of the four gods. And there's the book that's called The Universe of the Four Gods, and in the story you read the book, and the reader gets transported to this world and becomes the priestess of whatever god you happen to land in their kingdom of. And in the original one, you have these two girls, Miyaka and Yui. Miyaka becomes the priestess of Suzaku, and she gets sucked into the book first. Yui becomes the priestess of Seiryu, later on in the story, and those two kingdoms are at war with each other, so they become enemies, and it's action, intrigue, mystery, romance, all of those things rolled up into one. And then later on, the author decided to do stories or do the story arcs of the other two kingdoms, because in the first series those priestesses had already shown up, and then she's like, well, now we're going to do flashbacks and go back to do the other two priestesses. And the first one of these sequel prequel spin-off series she did was for the priestess of Genbu. So it's the second series is Fushigi Yugi Genbu Kaiden, and that series is complete. And I've got the last two on order, and then she started the last one for the priestess of Byakko, which is Byakko Senki, but only one volume is out, and it's actually a little bit on hiatus in Japan right now, so I don't know when the rest is going to come out. But I'm actually really looking forward to Byakko Senki, the rest of it, because that part of the story actually played a big part in the first series of Fushigi Yugi, and the characters showed up a lot more than the other ones, and I'm like, oh, I want to know the rest of their story. So anyway, but I'm like, well, I've got the first volume of Byakko Senki, but I'm like, I'm gonna go back and reread the rest of it. So I'm reading a lot of manga lately. I just finished the first Fushigi Yugi. Now I'm on to Genbu Kaiden, and I am enjoying it, and I love it. So yeah, it's a great series if you've not read it or watched the anime. The anime is available on Crunchyroll, which you can watch for free. You have to watch a bunch of ads though, so be aware of that. So yeah, Crunchyroll, you can make a free account, or premium is like $8 a month. So if you're gonna watch a lot of anime, that's probably the way to go. I just can't justify one more streaming service. If I was watching a lot more anime, like new stuff, because there's a lot of stuff on Hulu that I get anyway, so I watch it there. But there's been times that I've been like, oh, I am so tempted to get a Crunchyroll paid account, and I'm like, oh, but do I really want another one? Mm-hmm. I go back and forth with myself on this. But if you're going to watch a crap ton of anime and you can justify the cost, I mean, it's a small cost, but I don't know. I'm weird. But anyway, Crunchyroll's great for that kind of stuff. But that's what I've been reading is a lot of manga.
It's been a while since I've sat down and read manga. I used to read a lot in high school, and I used to get like this. It wasn't like a actual manga, but it was like this magazine that had a bunch of manga in it too. Like, yeah, combination of manga and other things. I don't remember what it was called. This was.
There's several of them floating around out there, because the library gets them, so I see them a lot.
Yeah, that's true. Like I first saw that at the library, and then like I asked if I could get one myself. But yeah, I've been meaning to think. I used to read a lot when I was in high school. Like for some reason, my high school library had a ton of manga. I was surprised by how much they actually had. I'm like, oh, okay.
It's just, I don't know. It's a lot of fun, and I love it. And I mean, I kind of fell away from it for quite a while, and then I think just after I got married, like Jared was really into anime, and he was showing me a bunch of different ones. I'm like, well, here, I want to show you some of my favorites, and there's some that he's like, no, that's not my thing. Like I tried showing him Fishugi Yugi, and it was a little too wacky for him in the first episodes. And so I was like, okay. I mean, it's funny because it starts off like really kind of silly, and it's a shoujo anime, so there's some of, you know, the squealy schoolgirl kind of thing, and then like in the halfway point, it just gets dark really fast, and it's kind of like, I don't know who I would recommend this to, because the people who like the comedy and the silliness are going to be way turned off by the darkness of the second half, but the people who like that dark drama are not going to be able to get through all the comedy and the first part, so it's kind of uneven.
So it's like
that
that
actually
kind of
sounds like something
escalated
I would
quickly, and then
watch.
it de-escalated quickly.
Yeah, like a lot. Like, I mean, I don't know if I could talk about some of what happens here and keep our show PG or even PG-13, because when there were some sections in there when I got to it, and I'm just like, I don't know, like, should I be watching this? But I kept watching because I wanted to know what happens.
So basically, hand over eyes with one eye kind of peeking through a little bit of a slit in the hand.
Yeah, I mean, some of it is just kind of like, okay, like when I was rereading the manga this time, like, yes, I know what happens. It's terrible. Let's keep going. And when it gets a little more, it's like, I'll take the romantic soap opera crap. Just get past this part. But no, it's really good. I enjoy it. The characters are fun, and it's kind of an interesting way of doing of working around some mythology. And that, you know, it's just intriguing. So if you're a fan of that kind of thing, check it out. And well, I put links to the first volumes of each of these series. Of course, one only has one volume, but we'll put those in the show notes, so you can kind of. I think, you know, I think if you haven't read the first one, the Mysterious Play, and you want to go on to Genbu Kaiden or even the Byakko, you could probably do it. Just all the little Easter eggs would probably from the previous one would probably just be a bonus for fans who've read it all or watched it all. So you would you be a fun little Easter egg. But you know, if you could only find one or the other, I don't know. So it's not necessary to go in a certain order other than this series. You need to go 1, 2, 3, volume order of the different books.
Yeah.
Throughout the series, but as far as the overall story, you could probably do any of them, other than the one that just barely started, of course. Because you could read that one and be like, but I want to know what happens next. Well, you can't, because it's not out yet.
I've not been reading like physical books for the most part, just because I don't really have the time and patience to sit down and just read a book. So I've been doing a lot of audiobooks. I've been making good use of the Overdrive app and being able to access audiobooks from through my local library and having an account with them. Just I've probably, what have I done? I've probably done a good dozen books since I started in July.
Nice.
So
Nice.
or close to it. Yeah. And I've done a whole variety. Like the very first thing I read / listened to was Wishful Drinking, which is one of Carrie Fisher's books.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yes, which
Very good.
is read by her, and is really good. I mean, it's dark, because she doesn't hold anything back as far as the crap that she has gone through in her life. She's very, very raw about it, but at the same time, man, she was a funny broad.
Oh yeah.
So
I mean, the wit and the humor on her, my goodness.
Yeah, so I need to go back and do, because I know she's got more. But I've done some fiction. I can now say that I've read the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the first, so that was good. I did a reread of and Hitchhiker's Guide, at least in this, is read by Stephen Fry, so
Ooh, nice.
that's good. I've done The Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, which is always a good a good one. It's been a long time since I had read that. Michael York
Ooh,
reads that one,
nice.
so, and he does voices and stuff too, which is
cool.
nice.
That always makes it better.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I tried to do The Princess Bride.
That one, yeah, I had heard, because I was gonna try it, but then I had seen some of the ratings and the reviews, and it's just like,
yeah, because
it's an
it's
abridged version, and it's not done real well.
The abridged, because I've never read it, so I don't know the difference.
Okay.
My only reference is the movie,
Right.
so that doesn't make a difference to me. It is read by Rob Reiner, which you would think it's like, this guy, he knows this movie, he knows the source material. No, it's bad. It's Rob Reiner. He's not the best narrator. He's kind of bland, actually, and just the audio quality of the recording is just bad. It's especially considering the other stuff that I've listened to, it's just kind of poor quality as far as recording. So
who knows what kind of source material they had to work with, if it was an older
recording or something, maybe. I honestly, I don't know, so I had to give it up. I gave it up at the cliffs of insanity, so because it was just like, I don't like this. It's like, as much as I really enjoyed the movie and the story, it's like, no. So that's when I'm probably just actually just have to read the actual book.
The book is good. I haven't read it in several years, but I have a copy and I've been meaning to reread it. The book, I mean, the nature of the book is like, you can tell that the movie was based on this for sure. It's reading the book and watching the movie are two very different experiences. I mean, this is true of any book to movie adaptation, which we've discussed before. Yes. But this one even more, because even the book is a parody of fairy tales and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because you get history about Gilder and all the guilds and that. It's interesting, but it's just like, okay. Let me get to the good parts here.
Yeah. At one point, the voice of Inigo's father speaks to him and says, "No, you will avenge my death." And it's like kind of hard to do that in a movie. I mean, I guess they could have done it, but it's probably best that they didn't. So but in the book, it's funny. The book works great.
Yeah. And then I've for the last little bit, I've been kind of more on like a self-help kick stretch. So I've been listening to books that some are intended for like to help whoever's reading it, and others it's like a little bit of biographical, but also includes things to help you. So like I listened to The Art of Asking, which is by Amanda Palmer. Who, depending on, I guess, where you live on the internet, you'll either know her as her own person, musician, artist, sort of, or you know her as Neil Gaiman's wife. But it's hers. It's kind of mostly biographical, but you can. I was like, oh, girl, it's like I haven't been in your exact situation, but I totally get where you're coming from, type thing. And then you probably know her name. You've probably heard it, even if you've never seen or read any of her stuff. Brene Brown. She's a pretty prolific speaker and author. I did her book, Daring Greatly. So I just finished that fairly recently. So, and then I've got several more of her books that are on hold, because even with overdrive. You can't just like, oh,
Yeah.
it's digital, I can just go and listen to it. No, there's still like limits on copies. And
Yeah.
stuff.
I
And
could
waiting lists. Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
I could give you all the inside baseball, which as a librarian is annoying to me, but as probably normal patrons, you'd probably think is really boring. Just know that publishers are very stingy about how much they want libraries to borrow to lend out for free.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So they're
actually not funny at all.
they're the version of the soup Nazi.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yes. Exactly. That is exactly.
No adios, no books for you.
Yeah.
Yes. Like, okay, so so when you buy a physical book, over time it's going to wear out and you're going to buy it. You're going to have to buy a replacement. Library copies, they get used up a lot. But with a digital copy, they're like, oh, but you're never going to buy a new one to replace it. So let's say you can use it 50 times, 50 borrows, and then you have to buy a new one. Well, even that's kind of, especially like for audiobooks, that's kind of a low number because, if you're doing a book on CD, the CDs will last for quite a while. So the number, the arbitrary number is just really ridiculous that they put on it. Or you can't lend out, that they won't let you lend out a book that's like less than 6 months old because they're gonna go buy a $25 hard copy if they can't get it from the library. It's like, really? Like, do you guys hang out with people at all, or do you just sit in your offices?
Yeah.
But anyway, that's the Cliff Notes version of the ridiculousness of publishers and their lending, or their agreement to let libraries lend out digital material.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so I've got a few things on digital hold waiting for my turn in the virtual queue, but in the meantime, while I'm waiting on that stuff, I just downloaded American Gods. Speaking of gaming, so
enjoy.
Yes.
I haven't really been like reading too much, mainly because I can't decide. Like I have so many books.
Join the club.
Physical and digital and audio. It's like, ooh,
That's the nice thing about digital is like I can have multiple at the same time, and it's like because it's an audio, you're like, I mean, you are limited on how long you get to keep it before you gotta return it. But it goes faster in audio form. So
yeah,
especially if it's read by the author.
Yeah,
and like,
or at least you have a good reader that's doing it.
Yeah,
yeah.
Like I'm pretty sure American Gods is read by Neil Gaiman, so that should be pleasant to listen to at the very least. So
I have listened a couple of months ago. I listened to As You Wish. Speaking of Princess Bride.
Oh, that's a good one.
I have that audiobook. I think Audible was having a sale on it some time ago, and I got it. Oh, it's so much fun.
That's worth the purchase.
Yep. That was a fun listen to, and there's like getting in the behind the scenes and like those stuff I knew already from like other behind the scenes stuff I've watched and read. But there's some little nuggets like, oh, I didn't know that. And I'm slowly, very slowly working my way through the Sandman.
Yeah, I still have yet to start that.
Yeah, me too.
It's good from what I'm listening to. So it's like, it's one of those that I kind of have to be paying attention to. Like, there's some things I can listen while I'm doing other stuff, but this one, like, I just want to get into, and I just haven't had time to actually be able to do that.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna hold off for Sandman till like Christmas break when I don't have like other distractions with like work and stuff. So it's like I want to be able to like dedicate it, my attention to it. So it's like it was really, it's like I really want to start it, but it's like I know I can't give it the attention it's probably gonna deserve. So it's like I'm gonna hold off till like Christmas when
Unfortunately for me, the holidays are the most busiest book-wise.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Can I quick do an honorable mention for reading as long as we're at it?
Sure.
Okay. It's by Kevin J. Anderson. It's the Don Shambles Zombie PI series. It is humorous. It is funny. I mean, it takes your detective noir and kind of tilts it on its head.
Ooh.
Yeah, he's got like 6 or 7 books out, and they're short stories, and some short stories, but they're enjoyable. And also, I misspoke about the Everchase, the main character. She's not a vampire, but she deals with vampires who are part of the supernatural detective force that she works with. But it still is based in the vampire mythos. So that I've been reading so many genres and stuff that things get crisscrossed.
Yeah, I can understand that. I'm kind of like Rachel. I'm like, okay, I have all these things on digital, like I've got audiobooks and ebooks and things, and I've been doing all sorts of things. So I what book was that in again?
Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
And like I have to like remember which, because we all like have like all the apps. Like I have the book app, I have Kindle, I have Overdrive, I have Audible, I have other ones. I can't think of
I know.
I'm like,
which
one is this book in?
I had to close up a bunch of my apps on my phone because I was doing something. And then I was like going to go back to this audiobook, and it was one of the librarians. It was the Librarians and the Lost Lamp.
Oh, that's a good one.
That I got from Chirp when it was on cheap. And I thought it was in my iBooks app, or my Apple Books, whatever they're calling it now. And I couldn't find it. I was like, where did it go? I know I was listening to it. Like, wait, it's not in this app. It's in the other one. So I'm just like, and that's a good one too. So makes me miss that show.
Physical copy of that book. I've had that like for a while. I haven't read it. I feel so bad. Like I'm like, oh, I have this book. There's so many books.
I know.
It's like this times like I feel like man, I love that I'm a bookworm, but I also hate it at the same time because
you are never gonna run out of things to read.
Exactly.
That's how this works.
How's that old saying go? So many books, so little time.
Yes. Anyway,
so funny. Like, when I was a kid, like I remember thinking, oh, my adulthood, I can read as much as I want.
Yep.
I take the advice that J.K. Rowling gave many years ago, and when people would say, "Oh, I wish I could read, but I just don't have the time to," and she said, "Well, don't you ever use the toilet?"
Yeah.
Take a book in there. I'm like,
if it's a book you own and therefore don't mind keeping it in the bathroom.
Yes, or just
probably don't want to take your library books into the bathroom.
Well, no, but no. That's a place where you can have time to read. You're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
No.
True. I may have lost time. Like I was reading something.
Well, yeah.
And like I look, I'm like, why am I still in the bathroom? Why am I asleep?
Because you had to finish the chapter.
Exactly.
Like I wish, like you see, like on TV or something, you see people reading books like in like taking a bath. I'm like, if I did that, I would drop my book. That would not have been good.
Yeah. Be careful. Be careful with them around water. But if you're careful, you can do it.
Yep.
Anyway,
I'm not careful.
Okay, well then
clumsy.
maybe you should rethink that plan.
If you're not Brittany.
Exactly. You're not me.
Well, moving on to
what we've been watching.
Yes, from what we've been reading to what we've been watching. So I put a few in here already. I'm going to go ahead and highlight them. Alex has decided that speaking of reading on the toilet, we're potty training.
And it's slow going, but we're doing it. And I let Alex watch my iPad while he's waiting. And he likes to watch YouTube Kids, or Kids YouTube. It's the YouTube app. I'm fine with him watching. I don't think he's gonna find anything sketchy, but I still watch, make sure it's okay. And he found a YouTube video that was a song, and the visuals were from the new DuckTales. So I'm sitting here going like, I wonder if he'd like watching that on Disney Plus, because I saw, and I'd been meaning to watch it. I really didn't know what to think of it, because whenever someone reboots something that you loved as a kid, you're like, oh, how are you going to do this? Is this going to be any good? And sometimes they're not.
Tennant makes a great Scrooge McDuck.
Yes. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to sit down and I want to see if he wants to watch this with me. So we sat down and watched the first few episodes of DuckTales, the new DuckTales 2017. And you know what? It is a riot. I mean, yes, it is nothing like the original 1987 DuckTales, which I still love. And I showed him the Treasure of the Lost Lamp, the movie that they did. He liked it. But now, when he wants to go watch something, like before we were doing 101 Dalmatians over and over. He did Peter Pan for a little while. Now it's like Duckies. He says Duckies. He means he wants to go watch DuckTales. And I love the humor of it. I like what they've done with the characters. Mrs. Beakley is a little, she's not the typical housekeeper that they had in the other one. The nephews all have their own different personalities, and there's a lot more to the lore of the story. They're at the end of the first episode, Dewey finds a painting of and that includes a picture of his mom, and so they're looking for Dewey and Webby are looking for what happened to the triplets' mom, and and there's all this adventure stuff, and like they like Scrooge is talking about when he was gold in the gold rush at the Klondike, and one of the nephews is like, wait a minute, how old are you? so they lampshade a lot of this stuff, and like the humor is really quick and quippy. The animation, one thing I've had a problem with some of these reboots is the animation has just been horrid looking on some of these other shows. And it just looks, I can't stand the look of it. But the look of DuckTales, because it's a little more comic booky. It's very different than the original, but it's its own thing. It doesn't look like anything else. Like you're not going to mistake DuckTales for, I don't know, whatever goofy looking show that they have now. You're never going to mistake it because it's got its own look to it, and it's great. And there's some new villains, and there's some new takes on older villains, which are fantastic. If you haven't finished season 1 of it, there's one at the end that I'm like, oh wow, you did that. I like this. This is great. So
does there certain spell casting duck make an appearance?
That's what I was trying not to spoil. So yes,
Sorry, enough said.
No, yeah, I will not. I mean, it's been out for a couple. The first season's been
I haven't had a chance to sit down and watch yet.
Yes. But what they do with magic, I'll say what they do with Magica Dispel is like, whoo, nice. I like that. And it's good. Cool. It's a fun little. David Tennant is Scrooge, and he's wonderful. Oh my gosh! Like no one will ever replace Alan Young. No one will ever replace him. David Tennant does a brilliant job as Scrooge, and I cannot recommend this highly enough. So if you haven't watched
it and makes it his own.
He makes it his own. It's still like, there's little bits and pieces. So if you were a Disney afternoon kid back in the day, like there's mentions of Cape Suzette, Darkwing Duck makes an appearance. As a, there's different things like that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I remember. I don't know.
Any nods to Tailspin or no?
Cape Suzette. Don Carnage. Okay, Don Carnage comes up.
Ooh.
He was a guy. He was someone. But yeah, it's great. I enjoy it. And so if you're looking for something new, and you've got a Disney Plus account, go check that out. So yeah, DuckTales, and it's even got the 3-year-old stamp of approval. I mean, there's some jokes that I know are going over his head, but I'm like, those are for me.
Say, like in the original one, those jokes that went over our heads.
Yes. So, and Yeah, I mean, and I've shown him some of the original stuff, and he likes it, but he keeps going back to he wants the new one. I'm like, okay, I can get on board with this. This is fine. Another one that I've been watching, Alex hasn't necessarily been doing, because I'm not sure if he's old enough for this one yet, is Gargoyles.
Ooh, yes.
Also
I
on Disney
haven't watched that since.
With Marina
new.
Sirtis.
Yes,
And Jonathan Frakes.
Jared and I were going through and like picking out all the Star Trek actors, and Michael Dorn that one I'm a little embarrassed. It took me a minute because I'm like, when the character shows up and he's talking, I'm like, oh, I know this voice. Why do I know this voice? And I look up, oh, it's Michael Dorn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
So yeah, Gargoyles Classic, wonderful. I've been kind of going through that one as well, enjoying it. It was on Toon Disney for years and years, and it would be like every night there'd be 2 episodes on, and we'd watch them. So I don't know how many times I've watched this series all the way through, but I'm like, I'm due for another one, so we're gonna do that. So that's also on Disney Plus. I know Disney Plus has kind of gotten a workout over here, and I'm like, it's like worth every penny.
Yes.
And another big thing that Jared and I have been doing and getting back into is watching Bollywood movies. Which, if you've never watched one, it takes there's a little bit of a learning curve to it, because it's if you've never if it's not something you've ever done before, because there's a lot of cultural stuff that you might have to look up, but you know what? Look it up, learn something about another culture, and see how these things work, and some of the humor and the illusions and things like that. But on the whole, if you enjoy musicals, if you like good choreographed dancing, and if you like movies that are kind of upbeat and positive, like even okay, this first one I'm going to cover it's called Happy New Year. It's the first one I ever watched. I rewatched it recently. It's a heist movie.
Ooh.
But the team that is going to what they're stealing is these diamonds that are kept in this hotel in Dubai, which is hosting the World Dance Competition. So these thieves have
steal ourselves a dance competition.
Pretty much, yes. That's exactly what they do. Is they, and I mean, these guys, like, there's a military guy who's half deaf. There's a guy who, he's like the big bouncer bruiser guy who's kind of clumsy and kind of an idiot, but you love him. There's the young hacker guy, and this is all because the main character, he goes by Charlie, because the guy they're stealing these from framed Charlie's dad for stealing his something from him, because Charlie's dad built his safe. So, but Charlie's dad didn't actually do it. He just framed him so he could collect insurance money. So they're gonna go steal the diamonds, and they have to infiltrate the dance competition. Problem is, none of them can dance.
I knew it.
So they have to find someone to teach them how to dance so that they can, I mean, this is like a world competition. This is like Ocean's 11 meets Eurovision. Basically.
With a touch of leverage to boot.
And so they hire this lady who she owns. It's basically the Indian version of a strip club. To teach them how to dance.
So I'm gonna have to watch this one. Oh,
it's on Netflix. It's called Happy New Year. The main actor, his name is Shah Rukh Khan, and he's actually in all 3 of these that I'm going to point out. He's one of our favorites. And yes, there are other Bollywood movies that he is not in that are really good. We've been on a Shah Rukh Khan kick because he's a great actor. He's one we really like. So that's Happy New Year. If you like your heist movies, if you're missing leverage and you want one with some catchy dance tunes, this is a good one. And it's on, like I said, it's on Netflix. This next one this one's actually a little bit older, but it's still pretty good. We found it because when Lottie likes to listen to Bollywood music. I don't know how we figured this out, but we did, because when we're putting her to bed, she calms down to it. So Jared found a video on YouTube of this one, it's called Mohabbatain. I don't know if I'm going to be able to say some of these names right, just because it's in a different language that I don't know, so I apologize. But it is. Oh, this one's great. It's this stuffy boys' school that is run by this headmaster who's very strict, and he forbids any of the students at the school to fall in love. So there's these three boys that, you know, they go out into the town, you know, they meet. Well, one of them meets this long lost friend of his that they were friends back long ago. Then she moved away and came back, and he always, you know, had a crush on her. And then another one of the guys falls in love with one of the girls from the girls' school across the way. And this other guy falls in love with a lady who she's very young, but she's a widow because her husband was in the military and he was killed. But she still lives in her husband's father's house because the father does not will not admit that his son is dead. So she has to live there and act like she's still married. So it's a little complicated with that one. Anyway, in this one, Shah Rukh Khan again. Comes in and he's the music teacher for this school. And he teaches the boys about music and also about life, and you know, love is the greatest thing ever. And anyway, but the headmaster doesn't like him, doesn't like the new music teacher because he's too happy, he's too this, he's too in love with love. And so, like, you know, but he says, you know, if any of the students fall in love, if they have a relationship or anything like that, they're going to be expelled. And it's I don't know, I think there's some cultural things that I'm not quite getting as to why, but I'm not really sure. But it's a little bit Footloose.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it sounds like Footloose.
Yeah. But anyway, but yeah, so Shah Rukh Khan's character arranges a dance party, invites the girls' school, and they all get busted. And then, you know, and then he has this awesome FU speech to the headmaster, and which I will not spoil because you got to watch it. And this one I think is on Amazon Prime. So if you have Amazon Prime, you should. And I put Wikipedia links to all these so you can, you know, see what the titles are. And so that's a really good one too. And then the other one that we've watched recently I watched this one that I liked is Jab Tak Hai Jan. Now this one's a little more complicated because it felt like I was watching two different movies at different points, because it goes into flashback. So it starts with this guy who again is Shah Rukh Khan, who it plays him, and he is a bomb demolition expert for the Indian Army. And you know, he and his team, they're like the best at what they do. And he goes in and disarms bombs. He doesn't wear any protective gear. He just goes and does it. And he's done like 100 of these. And he leaves behind a journal on accident, and this girl finds it. Who, you know, she's a student wherever close to where they are, and so he leaves it, and she reads about how he used to live in London. He used to be this carefree musician. And he fell in love with this lady who was like the heiress to this company. They were, you know, going to get married, or, you know, they were going to run off and get married, even though she was engaged to, you know, the guy her daddy picked for her. But then she broke it off for reasons that, again, I will not spoil because they are not what you think they are. And he was brokenhearted, so he was going to go embrace death. And then so this girl finds out about it, and she gets him to come back to London for a completely different reason. That he meets the girl he loved before. And it's a very sweet story. It's just, you spend so much time in the flashback that you're like, okay, what has this got to do with the bomb? But then it explains it. It's like, oh, I get it. And again, great music, great dance choreography, a very poignant, you know, story and message even. So I'm just like, you know, if you just want something nice and feel good and kind of fun, and you've got about 3 hours to kill, go pick a Bollywood movie. I mean, this one, I think, yes, this one also is on Amazon Prime, but you can find them wherever streaming stuff is. You can find them on Netflix. I think Hulu has a few, and then Amazon Prime has a whole bunch. So
I just added the two that the last two. I just added them to my watch list.
Oh yeah, just they're just, I don't know. I don't want to say they're fluff, but because every time I come away with one, I'm just like, oh, I feel so good. It's just, it's a hug. It's a hug for your soul. And there's a lot of fun. There's a lot of humor, and there's a lot of fun to it. And again, the music is lovely. Even if you don't know the language, you can look up the lyrics and find out what they mean, or just enjoy the music.
Mm-hmm.
You can actually get some of the soundtracks on iTunes for cheap.
Neat.
I'm kind of like with Bollywood, like I obviously know of it, and like I think I've seen like maybe some clips of movies, and they've kind of been like in the back of my mind, I was like, ooh, I kind of want to watch, but I just haven't jumped in.
You know what? Start with Happy New Year. I think you'd like that one.
It definitely sounds like it'd be like a nice, good one. Like,
yeah. I mean, and just take into account this is a different culture, so there's some things you don't quite understand.
Yeah.
Most likely, it's a cultural thing, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But just sit back and enjoy. And that's the fun part about it is everything I've learned about Bollywood, especially like the actors and the directors and stuff, is they're like their main goal is to make sure that whoever's watching their movies is enjoying themselves, is having a good time. And if you're not having a good time, then that's not what that's I don't want to say they feel like it's a failure on their part, but it's like that's their goal is they want to entertain you first and foremost. And so that's and you really feel it. You really feel it when it comes out in the movies. It's like you guys are having a good time, so I'm having a good time. So yep.
Cool. My goodness, where do I start? So, I mean, TV, I'm not really watching a whole lot of The Masked Singer came back last week. Excited, woohoo! So got that going for me. And I did start back up on watching Supernatural. Unfortunately, I hadn't gotten very far on last time. And right now we're planning on dropping Netflix. So I'm trying to get through as much as possible before I don't have access via Netflix anymore. So, but there is a article from Entertainment Weekly that came out before season 15 started, and it's 75 essential episodes to watch, which is still a lot.
Yes. Yes.
75 episodes. So I'm trying to get through this list before I don't have access anymore. And then if I want to go back and watch like full seasons, and I can just get the DVDs from the library. But I just started season 3, the episodes on season 3. So I just watched the Magnificent 7. So next up is Bad Day at Black Rock. So,
you're gonna love that one.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So, but I still got ways to go. Even just getting through this list. Not that I'm not enjoying it, although watching the Magnificent 7, I was like in our Supernatural chat, I'm like, everyone in this episode's wearing a green jacket.
I told you,
like at one point there's it's like there's definitely that too. Both of the guys look like walking ads for like Eddie Bauer or something. But at one point, like they end up out on the sidewalk after stuff happens, and and just like there's a whole bunch of people on the sidewalk. It's a crowd scene because something's happened, so a crowd is amassed together, and there's at least a half a dozen people that are wearing a green top or green jacket of some sort. I'm like, why is everybody wearing green?
Color code word of the day.
Yeah.
Don't think of that.
Apparently. So, but it's been fun, even if it is a task. I jumped on this bandwagon way too late. I got a lot. I thought Doctor Who was tough to get.
I mean,
So yeah, that's been a thing. Just trying to binge as much supernatural as possible, as humanly possible. And then really I've just been watching a crap ton of movies I've been getting from the library, because obviously doing gold standard I have to a majority of the Academy Award winners I've not seen, and therefore I need to watch, and the library's been a great place for that. But me being overachiever, I can't just watch just the one that took home the statue that year. Is I try to watch at least one or two of the other films that were nominated, and in some cases there's other movies that came out the same year and would have been eligible, but for whatever reason didn't get nominated. But it's a movie, it's like, oh, I've heard of that and I should probably watch that. So, and I've been watching like newer stuff too, the things I have not gotten around to. So like, I'll put in my request at the library, and I'll come home with like 4 or 5 DVDs at a time. And I'll just watch them, just burn through them as quickly as I can, because I only get to keep DVDs for a week. So I gotta watch quickly. But like yesterday, I was working on stuff around the house and doing busy work, and I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna pop these in. So just yesterday I watched A Tale of Two Cities from 1936, which I'd never seen any adaptation of that Dickens novel before. So there's that. Mr. Deeds Goes to Town, which is a Frank Capra movie I'd never seen, and Modern Times, which is a Charlie Chaplin movie. So, and then I still have to watch the movie we're doing this week on Gold Standard. I have it. I just got to watch it. The Great Ziegfeld. And then I also have After the Thin Man, which is the second movie in the Thin Man series, which are these comedy murder mystery movies. So because I watched the first Thin Man like earlier this month, and I enjoyed it so much. It was so funny. So I was like, I saw that was in this same year, and I'm like, oh, I liked the first one so much, so I got the second one. So but yeah, I've just been watching movies like it's going out of style. So, and it's just a little bit of everything. Sometimes I come home, even if they're all from the same era, it's just the variety. It's like, the Great Ziegfeld, it's like, great glittery, Hollywood musical numbers, and then you've got Dickens, and then you've got a Chaplin essentially silent movie. And so it's been interesting. So I watched like some Hitchcock that I've never watched before. So like I finally seen 39 Steps. So I checked off a couple of Chadwick Boseman movies. I watched Marshall and 42. So some recently. So yeah, it's just been if you come and knock on my door and be like, hey, what do you got from the library? I'm like, this week.
This is what we're doing.
Yes.
Oh, so I guess I don't feel so weird about having watched a couple other movies that were nominated in 1939, because because I've been getting ready to come on Gold Standard in like a month.
Yeah. Yeah, because 39's a big year.
I know. I was looking at that. I'm like, wow, this one. They had some pretty good, stiff competition.
Yep.
So
yeah, I was just looking at that, and I'm like, I should probably see about starting to. Well, I mean, I've seen The Wizard of Oz,
Yeah.
and I've seen Gone with the Wind now. I went ahead and got it out of the way.
It's a big one.
Yes, it is a big one. So, but yeah. Oh, and I watched Mr. Smith Goes to Washington actually recently, so I got that knocked out of the way too.
That's a fun one. I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I did.
Yeah, but there's still some really good movies in 39 that's like, I should probably watch that. Should get on that. So,
well, for me, it was let's go through and do a little reorganizing of the closet and stumble across some DVDs I haven't watched in a while. So you're going to sense a theme here. I found my copies of the series of Forever Night, which is a vampire detective series that was in the early 90s. That was based out in Canada with Grant Wynne Davies. I think that's not from Sliders. Names, because the name of the actor is almost similar to who played the professor in Sliders, so forgive me. Then the next one that I've been watching is Moonlight, which is a one and done series from CBS about another vampire detective with a very similar first name, and Brittany will recognize this name. The lead actor in Moonlight is none other than Alex O'Loughlin.
Yes.
From Hawaii Five-O. And then I found my seasons Smallville and have been kind of rotating between that and also rewatching season 14 of Supernatural and going to rewatch 15 to get ready for the last few episodes. So yeah, between that and downtime, it's just what do I want to watch and what do I have time for? Because some of these I can just toss on and have them on in the background, and there's a few where it's like, oh, I need to be paying attention.
Yeah, that's kind of the way I feel about watching the Supernatural stuff. It's like, even, these are the episodes you're supposed to watch, and that's usually because a good chunk of them, it's kind of like X-Files, or it's mythology.
Yes.
It's part of the greater mythology of the series.
Yes.
So it's like, I need to know about, the yellow-eyed demon, and
Yes, yeah, it's like they mention all these one-off things. You're like, okay, is that a noodle incident or is that from a past episode?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's like, some of them are. I've thrown in a couple others in there that weren't part of the list just because I like the description of the premise of the episode.
Smart move.
Yeah. So I'm like, I kind of like the sound of that one, so I watched that one. Like, oh crap, I can't remember the name of the episode. The one with the lady who's in the car crash, Roadkill.
Oh yes,
Oh, yeah.
That was a good episode. Yes.
Yeah.
Smart move to watch that one, because that was one that I was surprised didn't make the 75 episode cut. The way it ends, I mean, that the storytelling on that one was
the whole
fantastic.
idea of what's dead should stay dead.
Yes.
That's kind of important.
Just a little. For me, I haven't been watching too much TV because most of the shows I normally would watch normally come on around this time, but they're delayed, obviously. And there's been a few shows that I've started that I'm like, well, this is okay. I'm debating if I want to stay with it. But with movies, I've been trying to catch up with like recent movies that I've been meaning to see that I haven't. And some of the notable ones is just kind of random, a couple of them. One is Spies in Disguise. The one It's an animated one with Will Smith and Tom
Oh
Holland.
yeah.
Yes.
Will Smith turning into a pigeon. It's cute. I enjoy it. I mean, yeah, it's like kind of an obvious thing. Like if you've seen other spy movies, you kind of know what's gonna happen and all that. Which, yeah, but it was a good story, and I've always liked Will Smith and Tom Holland, so I'm like, so
Yeah. That was when we saw the trailer for, I can't remember what movie we went and saw. It was last fall, and we're like, okay, that one might be fun to watch on Netflix when it comes out or whatever. But yeah, that one was that one. We remembered thinking it would be fun. We just haven't got around to watching it yet.
I watched this documentary called Tea with the Danes, which is this something I would have loved to be like actually there to live, but it was like this discussion between Dames Joan Plowright, Eileen Atkins, Judi Dench, and Maggie Smith. It was so like they were like just talking about like the history and like how it was to do like stage and movies and just living being themselves, I guess. It was just a really enjoyable documentary about like these amazing actresses that I've always enjoyed all of them. So I was like, ooh. And then bouncing off that, I watched Victoria and Abdul, which had Judi Dench.
Yeah.
And, like I enjoyed it. Like I didn't really know the history of it, so I don't know exactly how accurate, how fictional, like because it's like obviously
I'm sure it's a
really-
mix,
yeah,
as it is with movies like that.
but I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good little sad at the end, but I was expecting that, knowing the little of the history I did know. And then yesterday I finally watched a movie I've been wanting to watch since it came out quite a few years ago. Now You See Me.
Finally.
Right. So that was an enjoyable one, and then
Yeah, told you.
I had real fun watching that. And like, it was a type of movie like I knew there was a twist, like how this movie what like how the basis and like kind of what they've been teasing. Like I knew there was gonna be a twist. I didn't know what the twist is, and I was like, oh my god, that's awesome.
Yep. It's Ocean's 11, but with magic.
Yes. Like I have the second one like ready to go. I just haven't sat down and watch it yet.
Yeah. You don't necessarily need to be in a huge hurry with that one. It's not as good as the first one.
From what I can tell, well, I'm basing that on like the reviews I saw. Like,
yeah,
like
they tried to outdo. I think they tried to outdo themselves because the first one was such a sleeper hit, and they're like, oh, and they like went way overboard. I think they could have dialed it back and, instead of going for flash, just kept some of the charm of the first one. So, but it's still fun because the cast is fun. So
yeah, yes, and like I've not what I'm currently watching, but what I'm planning to do. I've been like on a Star Trek fan fiction marathon. I don't know what happened. I just started reading Star Trek fan fiction for a while. I was like, you know what? I kind of want to like go on this task of watching like all the episodes and movies in like order, because like I've seen all the episodes of the original series in Next Gen, but like past that, not so many, like not all the episodes. So like I should really get onto that.
Deep Space Nine is really good. Just by the way,
the episodes I've seen, I really like. But for some reason, never sat down and watched. Which is funny. Like the two series that I've seen all the way through, one started and ended before I was born, and then this other one started before I was born. Like the rest that came out all at the time when I would be actually watching it. I didn't watch it live. It's weird. I don't know. That's my plan to do when that actually happens, and how long it actually takes me. It takes me forever to watch series sometimes. Like, for example, Supernatural. I've been trying to watch that for years, and I'm only halfway through season 6.
Yeah.
Out of 15 episodes? 15
It's like,
seasons?
this show lasted for so long because it's good, but at the same time, why did it have to last so long?
It's really good. It's hard to mainline sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for me, because I'm an emotional sap, so I get really attached to these characters, and they go through hell literally sometimes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's tough watching sometimes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. All right. Moving on to anticipation.
Well,
Pretty much pretty much anything that's coming on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Baby Yoda show.
Baby Yoda
Yes.
show.
Yes.
I think the only thing I'm really, really looking forward to right now is Halloween, which we are doing, and I don't care what anyone else says. Like, usually we just go down to my brother-in-law's, and they have a little, well, it's not really a fire pit in the ground, but it's one of those stands that has you do a fire pit, and we roast hot dogs and pass out candy, and so some people stay behind, pass out candy, some go out with the kids and trick or treat. And I'm like, you know what, even if we're gonna go dress up, we're gonna go have our weenie roast, and even if we just have to give the kids the candy that we have, that's fine, but we're dressing up. We'll even walk around the neighborhood. If nobody wants us to come knock on your door, turn your light off. But we'll be out there. That's yep. So it's just, I'm looking forward to Halloween. We're gonna be the Addams family.
Oh, cool. I kind of saw Lottie in the wig. I'm like, oh, I know who she is.
Yes, we found
she's gonna be.
It's a kid-size Wednesday Addams wig. We weren't sure it would fit her head. It's a little too big, but it's not as big as I thought it was going to be. So I'm like, okay, we're gonna rig this up and make it work. So yeah, we've been having fun going through what we have already, and then going through what we need to buy on Amazon. And Jared got some gift cards because he spearheaded the library's online D&D programming, since we were closed to do it. So he is kind of the unofficial chairman of the committee. Because he kind of just put himself in charge. So people, our library, for the employees, they have a way to nominate people who've done a really outstanding job, and you can get either time off or gift cards. And he picked the Amazon gift cards. Like, we're gonna use this and buy stuff for Halloween. I'm like, okay. So that's what we did. And so yeah, we've got all our goodies to be the Addams family this year.
Nice.
Well, I'm anticipating, like what Rachel said, the stuff on Disney Plus, and also Battlegrounds by Jim Butcher. Not much longer. I want to be able to sit and read that.
I got the e-arc from NetGalley, so yeah. I shall say nothing more because I've already read it.
One more day. Or actually, a few more hours.
Oh, that's true.
So yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking forward to. So
I guess I'm like, with me, it's like the Disney Plus stuff and like my shows coming back and nothing really. Like I unfortunately have to walk on Halloween, so I can't do what I normally do with things. But
can you at least wear like a Halloween T-shirt or something?
Well, yeah, but it's not as fun as because I love going to my grandparents and I love doing the trick or treating. Handing out candy. I even liked handing out candy when I was a kid more than trick or treating, according to my grandparents when I was little. But But I think my sister's birthday is in October, and we have like tentative plans, so that's gonna be hopefully fun if those plans actually happen.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, not really.
Yeah, I was just kind of looking forward to like the holiday season is
Yep.
just for things to just like, be off work and veg and
Eat
like
really good food.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I'm very glad that my gym has a branch up near my in-laws, so so like I maybe even out calories in, calories out.
Mhm.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah. I did okay last year, so
Good deal.
Here's something I'm pretty sure most people are gonna be anticipating. It to be after November 3rd.
yeah.
That too. Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Regardless of where you stand, I'm just over all the ads.
Okay.
Mhm.
and
I'm gonna
everything,
say
so-
this. All the social media people, all the social media things, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all those things. I've been registered to vote since I was 18. Stop
Yes.
bugging me about it. I know
Yes.
it's important. I know it's a good thing to do. I know I need to be registered to vote. I got it taken care of. How do I opt out of this stupid ad?
Mhm.
And it's not even one of those ads that, if when Facebook says, "Oh, are you sick of seeing this ad?" where you can go back and delete all your ad
It's like
preferences.
every time you open it up, it's like, "Hey, register to vote." I'm like,
I
Then
already
they're done.
am.
Then they're done. That got the T-shirt.
There, and the stickers and all the other fun stuff. It's like, no, I've got it covered.
It's like, we're good. Like you can just simmer down.
Yeah.
Same with
Yeah.
YouTube. When I get
I
on
mean, even
YouTube and I'm like, I'm tired of it.
Yeah.
Some of the questionable pieces in the mail. Have you registered to vote? And it's like,
Yes.
yes, I'm registered to vote. I can toss this in the circular file.
And I registered to vote in Pennsylvania. So I made sure that I did that. Like as soon as I moved, I was like one of the first things I did. Like
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you move and you go to the post office and get the change of address thing, and they ask, okay, did you get registered to vote? Like, okay, I got to register for my new address where I am and for all that stuff. And I'm like, okay, done, taken care of. Now, can we please move on?
Yes.
It's like I don't think the way they've plastered it everywhere. I'm like, I don't think anyone's going to forget. And if they don't do it, it's because you've annoyed them so much with it. They're not doing it just to spite you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that is a thing. So maybe you ought to think about these things. And I want to say that to everybody else who is running ads or sending out robocalls or emails or all that other crap.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's like, it's obnoxious. Please stop.
Yep.
And that's about as political as I want to get.
Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway.
Yep.
All right. So what are we all listening to, folks? Or did anyone else have anything else they're anticipating?
I only just pointed out because I actually got an ad when I was like, oh yeah,
Baby Yoda show.
Baby Yoda show,
Yeah.
October 30th.
Yep.
Mhm.
That's not good about Disney Plus. There's no ads.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And when they do, because I noticed when it says when the Mandalorian trailer dropped, there was a little spot on the new to Disney Plus section that it was Mandalorian season 2, and you could just click on that and watch the trailer. And I'm like, that's as much ad as you get from them. It's like, if you want to click on this, great. If not, cool too. Go, whatever you're watching, go find it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so
That and the new supermarket sweep. I am looking forward to the new
Yes.
supermarket
Oh
sweep.
yeah, that's coming out.
Then
I literally wrote a list yesterday of like the shows that are coming out that I want to see. And
anyway, yeah. So as far as listening to, well, I went ahead and bought the Goofy movie soundtrack because I realized I didn't have it. and it was like $10 on iTunes, and it's been really great having it. Although I did notice one thing, and I told this to my lovely co-host here, but I'll spread this out far and wide because I think this is silly. So on iTunes, when you go to buy certain albums, sometimes they'll have an album only song, and usually it's a special behind the scenes track or a song that's remastered or something just a little extra. Well, the Goofy movie soundtrack, both Powerline songs are album only, meaning you can only get them if you buy the whole album, which I was going to do anyway because I like all the music from that movie. But I could understand that there would be people out there who would only want those 2 songs. And I'm like, this seems like a very poor decision on your part. It's like whoever is in charge of marketing music for Disney or whatever, whoever made this choice, not a good one.
Unless it had something to do with Tevin Campbell, maybe.
Oh, okay.
With something with his license agreement. I mean, I don't know.
That is true.
I'm just spitballing. I don't know.
It just seems like an odd decision.
Right.
But that's it. But regardless, I've been listening to that when I take Alex to preschool in the mornings. I pop that on my phone, and he doesn't really sing to it, but he does like to dance to it. So like I'll play it while I'm making lunch or something, or when I've got it, and he'll come out and he just does this cute little, well, you've all seen Onward. We've all seen it. You know that scene where the legs are just dancing and they're in the band? He tries to do that. He is dad dancing. Just like, you are adorable. I'm like, I love this kid. So yeah, that's how he dances. I say, get up and dance, and he'll get up and he's like got his legs standing apart, and he's doing the, I don't know what he thinks he's doing, but that's what it reminds me of. And I'm like, I know that's exactly what you're doing, kid, and I love it.
Has he seen Onward? I don't know if you said that you
Onward?
Oh yeah. Watch it. Yeah. Maybe he memos that and he wants to do that exact dance.
Well, he's watched it. Well, when it first came out, he watched it a lot, and then he moved on to, I can't remember what he moved on from there. Might have been Sleeping Beauty or something, but yeah, he finds something he wants to watch and he latches onto it. And that one, for a long time, that was his thing. And for his birthday, we got a bunch of Onward stuff. But yeah, he loves that movie. He hasn't watched it in a while because he's been obsessed with other things, but we'll probably go back to it at some point. So yeah, so what was I thinking? Oh yeah, Goofy movie soundtrack, in conjunction with my earlier watching, I've been listening to a lot of Bollywood music. Since Big Finish some more, some audiobooks that, I kind of mentioned with books, but one series I actually listened to is called, it's the Crown of Feathers by Nikki Pau Preto. I don't know how if I'm saying this name right, but it's a fantasy YA novel. The reader, well, there's several different characters, so the chapters bounce around between the different points of view, so each character has a different reader, and it's the premise is there's these 2 sisters who they're descended from phoenix riders. So dragon riders are a thing in fantasy. Well, these girls, this world has phoenix riders, and they're people who have magic connected to animals are outlaws, so they're on the run, they're in hiding. And the older sister is a real, she's a bit of a control freak, and there's reasons for that I shall not spoil. But the younger sister, they find a phoenix egg, or they find a couple phoenix eggs. The younger sister gets one to hatch, and she bonds with the phoenix. The elder sister cannot get one to hatch, and the older sister is very jealous of her, and they end up having a falling out. And so the younger sister goes and joins the main group of phoenix riders, and she trains. And so it's all this build up to there's a war coming, and the 3rd book, which is not out yet, I think it'll be out in February. That they're all going to go to war against the Empire, and there's a whole lot of mythology building in this. It's very clever and very creative, and there's a lot of twists and turns that I did not anticipate. But I'm really enjoying it, and I was really bummed that I realized book 3 was not out yet. So it's but it's the first book is called Crown of Feathers, and the other one is Heart of Fire. And typing it in. But yeah, it's great. It's one of those, I don't know, I've been in a real slump with YA novels because some of them, a lot of them have just been so bland, either bland or preachy is what I've noticed, and I don't like either one of them. And this one didn't feel like it was derivative. This one felt like it was fresh and creative, and it wasn't trying to shove a message in my face or down my throat, which I was very appreciative of. The characters felt like I could care about them, even the one who, because there's some chapters from the sister's point of view, and you just hate her. You hate her because she's just done some terrible, awful things to her sister. But you start, then you get in her head and you kind of start to understand it. And you're like, I don't want to understand you. Go away. But and maybe that's down to the narrator or something. But no, it's a great series, and I really hope book 3 sticks the landing, because if I could have a brand new YA series that I could say to tell people when they come to the library, here, read this, it's awesome, because I have not had a new young adult teen series that I have been able to confidently say you will enjoy this, because they've just been so awful lately, quite frankly. But this one, I'm like, you are a shining beacon in a world of crap. So please go enjoy this one. So I'm hoping book 3 is good, but books 1 and 2 were fantastic, and I listened to those on the audiobooks. That's why I'm sticking it on listening to. So yeah, we'll put a note on that in the show notes, because I very much recommend it.
Yeah. For me, I've just been kind of going through listening to what I have for Big Finish and my library of audiobooks, and going through some of my playlists that I have saved for classic rock and listening to those. So, and in a few podcasts that I've had mentioned on prior currentlies. So that's what I've been listening to.
Yeah, since most of my book consumption has been in audio form, I haven't had a chance to really listen to anything else, other than, if we do happen to have music on, both Chauncey and I have essentially had the S&M2 recording album on repeat since we got it, since it came out. So that's always fun to listen to, because 1, it's really good, and 2, we were there. So that makes it even more fun. It's like, I remember that. So that's been on repeat here, pretty much. Like when Chauncey gets up in the morning, he tends to listen to music when he's taking his morning shower, and I barely have to pay much attention, and I'm like, oh, yep, there, yep, that's an M2. And that's usually my go-to if I'm not listening to an audiobook, as well. Or like the gym, like if I need just something to give me a little extra oomph, then all you need is Master Puppets, and you're like, lift the weights, do those extra squats. So, but it's so much fun to be able to listen to and relive it. And we got the Blu-ray too, and have rewatched the concert and relived it. And we found ourselves.
I was about to ask, have you seen yourself?
We have found ourselves. I mean,
nice.
You can't really see me, but you can definitely see Chauncey, because he's so tall. And he was really smart that because it's like Metallica, so pretty much everybody's wearing black. He wore the T-shirt he got when he volunteered for their day of volunteering for the All Within My Hands Foundation, and it's bright white.
Nice.
So
There
yeah, but I'm sure we probably appear in a couple other spots where the camera's pointing in our direction, but there's one specific where like we know for sure that the camera is pointed our direction, and it's like there's a shot where it's panning to the conductor, and he's got, he's doing his conducting thing and his arms are raised at one point, and it's like under past his armpits off in the distance. It's like, there, that's us. So so it's like we've got as if not the ticket stubs and all the pictures and stuff that we took while we were there is not physical.
But it's
enough,
seeing yourself on the screen at the concert.
Yeah,
It's very
it is.
cool.
Yeah. Oh. It definitely helps. It's in Blu-ray, so it's an HD, so it's like it makes it a lot easier to find yourself. Oh, and it looks really good too. But then listening to the album too on repeat, especially listening to personal favorites like No Leaf Clover. That's my song. That's my jam. So, but their acoustic version of All Within My Hands is really good too. So much better than the original album version. So that's really good too. The S&M2 version of Outlaw Torn is really good too. So yeah, it's most of the music translates well to working along with the orchestra. There's a couple of them where it's like, I don't know if the orchestra really adds anything, but they needed to flesh out the set list, and it always helps if you can promote whatever album you had out most recently too. So there's some stuff from the most recent studio album that's been part of their set list since they've been on tour. So it's like, well, we already know this song, so we might as well just keep it in there. But for the most part, it's just fun to listen to, and even if you weren't there, if you like Metallica and or you like symphonic music, it's a good mix. I think I may be biased. I was there, but just saying. So that's
awesome.
that's mostly what I've been listening to is Metallica. So I have picked up, even though Chauncey's got the entire Metallica catalog on his own, now that I have a car once again with a working CD player. I've been slowly building up my own version of the Metallica catalog, so I can't keep everything on my phone. The phone can only hold so much.
Yeah.
So I've been going to like half price books, and when they have a Metallica CD, it's like, hey, I can add that to the collection. Thank you very much. So yeah. And then podcasts, of course. Every now and then I will remember that listening to podcasts is a thing, not just audiobooks. So I am grossly behind on pretty much everything. So I have liked what Unspooled has done. They finished the AFI 100 list, but to keep the show going, they are now, for season 2, they are building. They're doing like two things. They're like building their own. They're going to build their own version of the AFI 100 list.
Nice.
And they're reviewing movies that aren't part of the list. But they're doing them in bunches where they're themed. So they're doing like 5-6 movies in a chunk. So it's like season 2 part A, and they're doing all like teenage. It's supposed to be back to school, but not every movie has necessarily the plot has anything to do with school, but it's like teenagers, teenage life. So they've done like, they did Mean Girls, which is a very obvious one, but they've also done like Rebel Without a Cause, which doesn't really set, the plot really has nothing to do with the kids being in school, but they're teenagers in high school and that sort of thing. But then they're doing foreign films, which technically would not count for the AFI list, but they're playing fast and loose with the rules here. But then they're also deciding they're gonna be making their own list, and at the end, when they've completed their entire list, their plan is to send the list into space.
Ooh.
So that if aliens, so they're also trying to include, they're trying to decide, it's like, what is this movie? Should this movie be included because it deserves to be included, but it should also be included because if aliens found it, would it be a good representation of like media and life on Earth? So that's been kind of fun. So, but they're still in their teenage life, back to school chunk. But they're like each. Yeah, but like they're releasing the list of like the 4 or 5 movies they're doing, and then the last movie on the list, the listeners are getting to vote. So if you're not part of the Facebook group, go join the Facebook group so you know when you can go vote for the list. So, but that's been fun. Because again, more movies that I need to add to my to watch list.
Because you didn't have enough.
Yeah.
The movie watch list is getting as long as book reading lists.
Yeah.
That is true. Yeah. Just as a note of correction, the book series I was talking about earlier, it's actually Heart of Flames is the second book, not Heart of Fire. So
Flames, fire.
I know, but it's like I better correct that, because if anyone's listening and they're screaming at me, you got it wrong. No, I've gone back and I've fixed it. So there we go.
And there are people who are very like that.
Yeah.
Yes. So there you go. Hopefully they listened this far and didn't send us any nasty feedback.
I can see like something like you meant like, and then like they send another email like, oops, sorry. For me, I haven't really been listening to anything specific. Like Rachel, I'm way behind on my podcast. Like I have so many like, oh, you haven't listened to this one in months. I'm like, oops. I have the boys are back traveling the vortex, so I've been listening to them. So they've been they come doing it like every other week now instead of every week. So that's making that easier.
Mm-hmm.
And like music wise, mainly just listen to my collection that I have, and though specifically I've been these kind of not necessarily like a group, an official group on YouTube, but they're a bunch of friends, and they do a lot of collabs with these guys. They do like metal / rock covers of like Disney songs and musicals and anime. Like the 2 specific ones that the names are Jonathan Young and Caleb Haley, I want to say. And they're really good. I've been listening to them for years. Like I've been specifically searching for them lately, and even been getting some of the songs on iTunes. So I recommend them. Recommend that if you like covers and like metal rock. Like I first found like it was Jonathan Young, and he was like Young does Disney like metal Disney like that. That sounds intriguing. So let's go listen. They're fun. Highly recommend.
Cool. I'll have to check those out.
Like they have like their own thing, but they collab with each other a lot. And then
Nice.
other people they collab.
Last but what are we working on?
Well, the main thing I'm working on now is Jared has finished his latest. It's the Dutch mythology meets magical girl story that he
nice.
started last November for NaNoWriMo. It got a lot longer the more he kept working on it. but now I'm working on editing it because that's what I do. And yeah, it's kind of dense, so it's kind of a slow go, but I want to make sure that it makes sense and looks nice. So because this is a new one that he's worked on, and he's really worked on, how the world works and how these things are, and he's done a lot of research because his family, his dad's family, came from Holland, the end of after World War II. So his heritage is Dutch. So that was kind of his idea. Is like, well, no one's really done a lot of Dutch fantasy or anything. So because someone was complaining like, oh well, fantasy is English or this and that, and he's like, well, here, I'm gonna do something that's Dutch because that's my family. And he's done a lot of research of this is like ancient Dutch, even before they were known as the Dutch, and it was the Frieslanders is what they were called. So he's done a lot of research, done a lot of looking at language and dress and culture and things like that. So he's kind of incorporated a lot of this and some of their beliefs from way back when, and I don't know, I think it's good. I might be a little biased, but I'm enjoying it. But yeah, I'm like, okay, I gotta making sure it all makes sense. So that's what I'm editing that, and hopefully it will be available before the end of the year. I'm working on it. So if you're wondering why he hasn't put anything out, well, you can blame me now because I've got the book. Of course, the alpha readers need to finish reading and get it back to him. I know the ones that he's got reading it do not listen to this podcast, but if they are, get on that, please. And you know who you are. Anyway. So that's my project.
I really don't have anything going on project-wise, so unless the projects are getting down on my to-be read list.
Yeah.
That is
about it.
That is an eternal project that you will never see the end of.
Yep.
Exactly.
Indeed.
This is true.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah, same, pretty much. Although, as I alluded to when I was talking about what I've been watching, when I was burning through those 3 movies yesterday, what I was doing was pinning and cutting out fabric to start sewing again. So I kind of lost all desire to sew anything earlier.
Well, yeah.
This year. It didn't help that I was like, well, there's no conventions to prep for. So when you don't have con crunch, breathing down your neck.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was, kind of depressing. Like, oh, look, another con got canceled. Big surprise.
Yeah. So that didn't help any. Though. And then I lent my sewing machine to my mom while hers was in the shop. So I was like, I'm not using it. It's literally sitting here collecting dust. So you're going to be without a sewing machine for 6 weeks. Here you go. But now I've gotten it back. It's, it kind of allows me to do, multitask. It's like, I need to watch these movies, podcast homework. So it's like, instead of just sitting there, like mindlessly scrolling through my phone or something while the movie is playing, it's like I can be pinning and cutting out fabric and working on patterned pieces and that sort of thing. So
I'm that way too. If I'm watching or listening to something, I'm like, I gotta have something to do with my hands. So
yeah,
there are worse things to do than work on a sewing project.
Yeah, I mean, I have a tabletop ironing board So I set that up on our kitchen table, which we just have a big open living room dining area. So I can be at the ironing board ironing fabric and can still see the TV. So
That works.
yeah.
Yeah.
Although multitasking while watching a silent movie, not so easy.
Yeah. Probably same thing as watching a movie where you have to read the subtitles.
Yeah. Yeah. So thankfully I don't have anything with subtitles to watch anytime soon. I know that'll be the case in a couple of years when we get to Parasite, but I'll worry about that a couple of years from now.
That's not for a while.
Yep. And I don't think I really have any more silent movies, at least not until we get to The Artist, which again is not for a while. So, but yeah, it's just small stuff, stuff I can. Since we rearranged our furniture in our living room, that's another thing we were working on, just slowly making better use of our space with trips to IKEA, which is always a good thing. So like in our second bedroom / man cave / office / whatever you want to call it, we got rid of some just like slapdash organizing that we had put together when we first moved in and had no money, and we were just cobbled together with random pieces of furniture that we brought into the marriage, and got some proper shelving that will actually hold up and stand the test of time, and bookshelves to hold books instead of them just being piled in a corner somewhere, and boxes with labels so we know where stuff is. And we've managed to free up and see way more of our carpet than we've ever seen in all the years we've been living here. But we did the same thing in the living room the last couple of weekends. Is swapped out our entertainment center for something way smaller footprint, way more streamlined, better organizing and that sort of thing. So now we've got like all this floor space. So it's like I just plop down my big old cutting mat and my fabric and my pattern pieces and just plop my happy butt on the floor and watched movies yesterday. So it's like I'm getting crap done.
I haven't really been working on anything unless you count like working on getting to like I'm horrible at finishing games that have like story. So like I have games I haven't finished in a couple of years, and like I'm working on that. That counts.
Hey,
yeah,
sure.
James is always good. It's like if you looked at my phone right now, I'd be like, "Dang, she really likes Harry Potter."
Yeah, same.
It's like Harry Potter, Hogwarts Mystery, which we're in year 6. I don't know what's going to happen once we reach the end of our term at Hogwarts. If the game's just going to be over or what, but that's probably not going to be for a while. So, and then Wizards Unite, and then I've got the new Harry Potter Match 3 gem game. So, and Emoji Blitz. I've got Emoji Blitz.
Oh yeah. I've been enjoying all the Emoji Blitz events, so
yeah,
it's like that one, and I'm so gung ho in Pokemon Go, and because now every time I turn it on, I swear there's a Team Rocket balloon. I'm like, oh, I gotta beat this because I need to get that medal of beating 1,000 Team Rocket grunts.
It's not even a lot easier instead of like finding going to the Pokestops. Like, is this one gonna be a Team Rocket run?
Yeah,
this one.
Yeah.
But there's times where I'll get lucky with those, and everyone I find would have one, and then there's other times it would be days and nothing would pop up. I'm like, seriously?
Yeah. So, but yeah, I've been enjoying that, and now they've gotten where you can just do the battle league too. So I'm like, and that just kind of connects you to whoever's on right now. So I'm like, okay, I'll do that. Those are a little more challenging because you're actually battling against a real person who's like, I'm going to beat you. So it's not just, someone who's like, oh, I have all water types. Like, okay, I'm going to load up with electric types. Like, no,
Yeah.
you gotta plan for this. And
Yeah.
And sometimes what you plan does not work. Like, oops, I shouldn't have done that one, but it's still fun. And it's about the most Pokemon I can get in because I mean, I would love to sit down with my 3DS and play through a game, but with Wii ones around, it's just not possible. So I play on my phone.
Yep.
And it works great for me.
Yep.
And Harry Potter Hogwarts Mystery, I took a long break. Also, I never finished games because I take breaks. So, like, I'm still in like year 5.
Oh, you got a lot of catching up to do.
I do, and I try to get to the story, but then I get distracted by like the side quests and Quidditch. I'm like, I just want to get through the story, but the other one.
Yeah, it's like they keep adding to it. It's like, oh, now you can play Quidditch, and it's like, oh, now there's clubs you can join. So,
yeah. Well, the clubs are easy enough because you just.
Yeah, because you just play like normal, but you gotta like you can actually go to the clubhouses. I'm doing air quotes. You can't say clubhouses within Hogwarts, and just like it is with the rest of the castle, you can pick up like energy and stuff. So he's like, I gotta remember to go there too, and tap on the things to get the bonuses. So it's just more stuff to remember. But yeah, with like all the side quests and now they have like a monthly thing. Where you can earn bonus prizes and bonus outfits and stuff. There's like a new one each month, so I'm looking forward to seeing what the potential prize for October is.
So like some of them like I definitely try to like get, and I was like, this one I wanted to get this one, so I tried my hardest, and I did. I just got it.
Yeah.
Which is good because like the month ends in like 2 days.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
As always, when it's the end of the month.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
But yeah, the mobile games are fun.
Yep. And also, like I'm working through. I have like this color app. Like I like my coloring books, like I also like to color like right before I go to bed, so that this makes it easy. So I've been like going through that, and like Holly knows like they've added like Disney. And
is that Happy Color?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's been fun going through like all the Disney, and like I'm like I remember this scene.
It's like, yes, please. Please, I want some more.
Well, and I like it because like most color apps, like you get free things, but most of them is behind a paywall. This one, a lot. Like there is a paywall for like some of the coloring things, which I want to get them because they're mostly Marvel based. But more often not with this app, it's like most of them are free, which is nice. So, and there's good pictures. Like, you know, my grandma does it too. So like constantly sending, oh, look at this one.
Like, did you see this?
Yeah. That's been fun working on that. Nice relaxing thing to do before I go to bed.
Yeah.
It's always nice to decompress before you go to bed. Yeah. So, is there anything else we want to talk about, or kind of ran the gamut there, didn't we?
Yeah.
So, we'll put links.
We did.
We'll put links and everything to lists on our website. So if there's anything that you thought you might want to check out, but you missed the title, or just want to refresh your memory, check out our website and find out what we were all talking about. Our website is the5ishfangirls.com. If you want to send us feedback and talk about your favorite things, whatever you're currently doing, or if anything we mentioned was like, hey, I like that thing, send us your thoughts. Our email address is 5ishfangirls@gmail.com. You can also leave us comments on our Facebook page, and links to all these things will be on our website. So that's just kind of the place to go. And we'll read out comments on from our Facebook and Instagram and even YouTube on the podcast. To treat those as feedback. You can download our podcast wherever it is that you get your podcast. We are there. If you'd like to support the podcast in a financial way, we have our Patreon account. We have our Amazon store, which is always a great avenue for that. We have a Ko-fi tip jar, and we have an Audible affiliate. So if you want to subscribe to Audible, use our link, and you get some free audiobooks, since we were talking about audiobooks before, and you can have some things to listen to while you're whatever it is you're doing, sewing, running, just vegging around the house. And so enjoy that. And also check out our Redbubble store for our merchandise. And as always, we have our we're always adding new stuff to it, especially since our D&D sessions are still going, and we still find funny things that we just kind of fall out of our mouth.
That's definitely one thing we're all working on, is surviving D&D.
Yes. In a good way.
The further we get into this, the more we're like, is our DM trying to kill us?
The answer to that is always
yes.
Yes, he is.
Probably.
So anyway, but he's this is Jared's shtick. and every once in a while,
it's what makes a good DM.
Yes. I mean, he's not cruel. I've had a cruel DM, and he was awful.
Yeah,
but Jared is
creative.
It's the writer brain, and every once in a while I'll look over, and he'll just be like cackling deviously to himself and be like, I know
maniacal
what
laugh.
and he's like, do you want to know? And I'm like, I think it's probably rude for me to know, and not the other ladies. And he's like, okay, but I'm really excited about this, because he'll tell me what he's doing with his other groups and what they're doing, because he just can't contain himself. But I'm like, no, you need to not tell me, because that'd spoil it. But yeah, so we're still doing D&D, so check out our D&D sessions on our YouTube channel as well. I hope you all are enjoying those. And as always, we thank you for your support, for your listening, for your contributions, for your comments, whatever it is however you interact with us. We're just glad that you're there, and keep doing what you're doing. I hope everybody is out there doing well and keeping it all together, and we're going to get through this. This year is almost over, and I really hope 2021 isn't sitting there saying, watch this and hold my beer. Because I want to read the terms and conditions first.
Yes. Can I have the fine print, please?
Yes.
All right. Well, on that note, on that so positive note, no, that's okay.
We're doing fine.
Yeah, we shall sign off for this week.
This is Brittany and Beth saying goodnight.
This is Chrissy saying goodnight from Salt Lake City. Bueller.
Holly.
Oh, she messaged us.
Oh.
She's away at the moment. So Molly says good night from Wisconsin.
Yes.
We're paying attention. Totes.
Yeah, totally. And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana, and my list has gotten even longer now. Thanks.
Yep.
So, subscribe to your local library, folks.
Yes.
It'll help a ton.
You have been listening to the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. You can find more episodes and information at the5ishfangirls.com. Any and all books, movies, games, and any other forms of media mentioned are owned and operated by the respective copyright holders. No copyright infringement is intended or implied. If you wish to support the show, the easiest way is to leave us a rating and review. More ratings and reviews will make it easier for others to find the show. If you wish to support us monetarily, you can do so at patreon.com/5ishfangirlspodcast. All money goes towards fees and equipment to keep the show going. For official 5ish Fangirls merchandise, visit redbubble.com/people/5ish Fangirls. We love hearing from our listeners and encourage feedback. You can email us at 5ishfangirls@gmail.com. You can also like and follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/5ish Fangirls. Thank you so much for listening, and may the squee be with you.